what this market is, right? We are on air. Hello.
I don't all get excited at once there.
I'm just getting the link. Just getting the link.
We are 0.26% away from being green on the day for Bitcoin.
It's because I longed.
It's a reason to be excited.
I longed the Bitcoin when we got on
and
this
it went,
call.
Yeah, it went up immediately. It's because of you.
That's right. I have the power. Don. Carpe. Wait, I'm going to separate us. Bears. Bulls. Luke.
This is bullying.
Richard. There we go. 50-50. Let's go, Luke. Luke's gonna be bullish with me. He told me. He promised.
I mean, I'm always bullish.
50. Let's go, Luke.
I don't see a reason why not to be bullish on Bitcoin. We're talking 10-year time horizon, right? We're not like
That's cheating, and you know it.
Yeah, we can have a 10-year time horizon. That's fine.
I mean, then we're all going to be bullish, hopefully.
Everybody's bullish in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be wasting our time, right? Or
it's like I'm bullish on things that survive. Like, so yeah, the bags that die, yeah, no longer bullish, but I think Bitcoin will survive. No reason to be bearish on that.
You sure it's not going to be overtaken by like Ripple or by like EOS?
Can y'all holler at a retweet on the weekly open thing?
Of course.
Your bots
I'm glad.
retweet us all the time.
Insta retweet from the
Do
bots.
my bots retweet faster than that's the real Don Alt that retweeted that one.
That was the real Don Alt. Usually I see a Don, a Luke, or a Cred come across my timeline, and I just assume it's some weird alt account.
It's so frustrating, isn't it?
It's a pleasant surprise when it's the real one.
It's
like,
yeah, dude.
The real Don is reading Twitter right now.
The DMs have gotten really bad. Like, people have been getting like a lot of like DM me comments from like scammers, but also like just straight up getting DM'd by scammers. So annoying.
Yeah, people ask me all the time. They're like, "Did Luke or did Josh's account get hacked or something?" And I'm like, "Dude, look at the freaking username. It's like 2 M's in it or whatever. It's like it's not even hard ones usually."
It's one thing on Twitter, but the weird part is as they migrate to Instagram, like a lot of in real life friends get those messages, and like we're all used to it here. I think most people are used to it, but on Instagram, it's got to be the weirdest thing. Like I'm sure there's like people I know from college or a random girl. They're like, "What? Like Luke is so weird. Why does he keep following me, DMing me? Hey, what's going on?" Like, you know what I mean? And I never talk to them, so I will never know. But there's probably fake me's trying to convince me.
I had a fake Gmail going out in my name.
I saw that. I remember you tweeting that one.
Yeah, it was like letter status email at gmail.com or something like that. I was like, this is not me. It will never be me. Ugh.
Yeah, but it's nothing you can do about it, right? You could tweet about it every single day. People would still fall for it.
It doesn't matter.
Like, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Until we all get a check mark, but I don't know if we want that.
I think
I would take it.
I
would take it.
I think Twitter's stupid for not doing that. It's like crypto stuff has to be a huge percentage of their overall scams. They should just be verifying people left and right. They'll verify anybody that works at like some online magazine, with like 1,000 followers. They're the assistant to the assistant editor at Wired, and they get verified, but they won't verify crypto accounts where there's like crazy scams going on in their replies.
I think large crypto accounts probably have more scams than like the biggest celebrities in the world on Twitter.
Yeah,
I would bet.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Hello, chat. Let's get started. Y'all ready?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Do it.
Cool. Do I have the? Yeah, I do. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Weekly Open. I'm Ledger, Brian. I call myself Brian on this show. That's my name. Here with the crew. We'll get to them in just a minute. First, I want to tell you about Blockfolio. They're our partner for Weekly Open. Go to weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio. Make your first trade there today. If you're buying the dip, if you believe that the bull market is still on, that all will be okay, you can buy it on Blockfolio. weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio. Go directly from one asset to the other. Track your portfolio like you've known and loved. Thanks for them being our partner. Fellas, what's up? Luke, you're on top of my screen. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well, man. You know, Ledger, I was looking for a little more convincing pitch there for people. If you believe the bull market's still going, you got to tell people the bull market's still happening with Blockfolio. No, I'm doing well, man.
Josh?
It's like you're preaching the wealth gospel out there.
Wow. Prosperity
Do you believe? Yeah, the prosperity gospel.
You got to
Do you believe?
I'm not preaching that. Don, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I was doing better until I got accused of preaching the prosperity gospel. I just think, the bears are loud. We're down 60%, and they need to get squeezed a little. That's what I think.
Unfortunately, China's tossing the game board and making everybody a little upset. You know what I mean? All the chips are on the floor. People are moving across the country, the waters, the pond, whatever you want to call it.
Josh, why don't you kick us off talking about hash rate? It's way down as equipment leaves China. This is bearish in the near term, presumably because hash rate is important. We love it when it goes up because it requires a higher price to be profitable. So it's going down, but it's also, some are saying, decentralizing hash rate, sending it to other parts of the world, so it's less Chinese focused, which is a long-term critique. The difficulty change is coming this week, right?
Yeah, in 4 days. I can't share my screen right now. You gotta let me share my screen.
Oh, it's my fault.
Yeah.
So
in the near term, it's terrible.
You can do it now.
But in the long term, one of the concerns was always whether or not China will control the network. We heard it from Peter Thiel. We heard it from all sorts of people for all sorts of years, over and over and over again. And they're getting their best wish. Here it is, minus 23%, the biggest negative difficulty adjustment ever. I think it's one of the biggest block intervals, as in block times. Block times have to be the highest.
Yeah, it's 23 minutes on average yesterday, I saw.
Yeah.
Which is really, really long. Like almost three times as long as the target of 8 minutes, right?
10 minutes. The good thing is the network's not collapsing. We're not experiencing like crazy volatility. Like this could be a lot worse if things were going insane to the downside, because you'd get this rolling effect of people panicking, sending coins to an exchange, the coins getting there like 6 hours later, and then just nonstop rolling. Like, so it's actually decently okay that we are pulling up with price, even though I don't think it's going to be long lasting. So if I'm on my deserted island just looking at this, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on, but we're just going to sit tight here, let it figure itself out, have its temper tantrum. Collectively, this is what, 20, 30, 40, almost 50%, which is expected. It's over the past 3 block adjustments. So that looks like crap. And that, in effect, is shifting the on-chain metrics for BTC down to levels not seen since like 2019 on transaction counts. Just crazy drop in transaction counts. And then active addresses also falling extremely hard.
What is the
right
time basis for active addresses? Is that like 30 days or what?
It's per day in this case, at least it should be.
Oh.
So if an address changes value today, then it gets counted as this.
Gotcha.
So we've fallen from 1.2 million to around 800K. And for people who have no idea what I'm talking about, basically it's a way to measure on-chain activity, who's using the chain, if these metrics are rising, we are bullish just in general, and it's actually makes me decently bullish on ETH because ETH has started to turn the corner a little bit on active addresses. It started to turn the corner on transaction counts, and ETH's hash rate looks like it's bottomed.
It looks like that MACD GIF meme where it's like you zoom way in, it's like looks like it's mooning.
And the other part about this that people may not realize is that price also plays a massive role in hash rate. So if hash rate drops, or if price drops 50%, hash rate's going to drop anyway. So it's really hard to say like this is China, this isn't China. We won't really know until like we're back at 60K and hash rate is still 20% off the highs or something like that. So it'll take time, but in the near term, it's going to be it's going to be messy.
Josh, I'm glad you pointed that out. I've heard so many times, and maybe it was just a meme that went around in 2018. Now that I think about it, it might have just been a meme. But people always used to say that price follows hash rate. You kind of said that the hash rate would follow the price there. You've looked at hash rate a lot more than I have. What are your thoughts on price following hash rate following price? Is there any relationship at all there?
Yeah, so if the incentive to mine drops, which it does if price drops, then the miners that are profitable, specifically like the older miners that are profitable, don't become profitable anymore. So if the miners are strictly rational, they'll shut off those miners. If they don't care, if they're just like BTC Moon Boys or ETH Moon Boys, then they'll leave it on. The thing with ETH is the fees are so high with the block reward that it doesn't really make sense to shut off the miners, I don't think. I think you're still mega profitable right now, even though fees are down dramatically. So yeah, I don't know. People say one thing or the other, but it's right now the obvious. It's like China is burning. It's obviously China, right? Like we can't say that it's not just price because China is literally falling apart. They're banning exchanges, OKCoin, Huobi, anything Chinese crypto is just getting sent to the slaughterhouse right now.
Yeah, I think that's like massively understated how like big of an impact that can have, right? It's a huge market that's just falling away. Doesn't mean it's gonna go to zero, whatever, but I mean it does mean that like people that will be buying this have dramatically decreased, right? I mean, we've had like a lot of action out of China, and now we have basically like we're going into like in a time where we're not gonna have as much or like any at all, really.
I'm kind of curious though. It feels like China, like whatever tech they get banned out of, they kind of find a way around it. Like if they get banned out of some kind of WeChat or, whatever it is, they have like a new app that does that. I wonder if, a year or two down the road, if restrictions keep getting tighter on China, they don't just come up with another roundabout way to get through it. I don't know. Or if it's already priced in.
I mean, like this is a financial kind of thing, right? It's not an app, so I think they're gonna be much more strict about it. But I'm not an expert. It's so hard to get any info that is actually reliable out of like
It's
China.
insane.
Like it's the only people that you can really talk to are basically like bigger players in the Chinese sphere, and I mean they rarely talk, right? So it's like there's not really much you can trust. And I mean, I've had my difficulties kind of trying to wrap my head around like how impactful this is, because if you think about it, right, if they're banning trading, if they're banning like in general just exchanges, all of the users basically either have to commit to holding their coins forever, or they're going to have to sell it, right? And I don't think they've sold it yet. So it's like...
So the Huobi notice that Suzu tweeted about only included derivatives, not spot trading being banned, which is interesting. And then the other question I have for y'all is, what do you think about the Binance being told they can't operate in the UK? What do y'all think about the news? And then did you notice that it didn't really affect price? And is that a shift?
Walls are closing everywhere, including the United States, where they're closing Kraken leverage for anybody under 10 million in their account. So it's not like just China, even it's everywhere, literally everywhere.
Does this make us bullish DeFi?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make me bullish. Stability of retail.
Josh.
it doesn't make me bullish ability of retail to get onboarded. And there's like two camps in the ETH department where it's like, yes, we want KYC AML on DeFi, and the other camp's like, no, we're not going to have KYC AML. It'll never happen. It's like, yeah, that's the dream, but that's not going to be the reality. I don't know. I think it's coming. I think if you don't think it's coming, you're ignoring it. It's gonna a lot of things are gonna change. KYC AML coming. Stuff.
I see.
Coming for DeFi, which is gonna destroy DeFi. Like, let's be clear.
Well, I'm curious though. What does that mean? Like, obviously they can do that to the front end, but like, how do you add KYC to Uniswap? Couldn't someone always just spin up another website? Or like, there's going to be more ways. Obviously, if you're a tech guy already, you can probably connect to Uniswap without using uniswap.org. But like, how can they stop Uniswap? They could ban the website Uniswap, but the protocol would still run.
Correct. They can't.
No, they can't ban it, but they can make your life a living hell for using it. That's the thing. They'll just disincentivize the ability to even use that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, like, the easiest way to kind of control it is just by kind of controlling the endpoints, right? You're going to have to, like, if you're putting money in and if you're putting money out, like, controlling that is relatively easy. And but I'm not, like, that's not my area of expertise. But like, if they want to crack down on it, I think they can. It doesn't mean like they can just say, okay, the smart contract isn't going to work anymore, because that's not how it works. But they can still make it so that you're not going to use it, I think.
Makes sense. I don't know, all this regulation talk, it makes me more bullish on DeFi, but obviously it's not going to be that clear. It's not going to work out that perfect. It'll definitely go through its challenges, go through its bans as well.
All right, I want to ask y'all a question. If we retrace to the upside,
Here we go.
How far do we have to retrace before you change your tune and are willing to be a buyer?
I mean, I was willing to be a buyer yesterday and it just sold today. So, I mean, I'm willing to buy this thing if it starts doing stuff I want it to, right? I want to see Bitcoin go up, altcoins bleed against Bitcoin. Like, that'd be my favorite thing to happen. I want to see less speculation and more just like buying of this thing, because what I've been seeing is every time we see like a tiny uptick of Bitcoin, everyone just jumps in and starts speculating again, and then they get wrecked, and it just kind of does it over and over and over and over again. And I mean, I guess that's kind of what a crab market does, right? It just fucks over speculators. But I mean, I don't want to be one of them, right? I don't want to be buying while everyone's speculating in the same direction that the speculators are trading, because if I do, I'm going to get wrecked with them. So for me, like, I want to see less altcoin speculation and more kind of focus on Bitcoin. And if I see that, I mean, I'm going to be a buyer, like, no matter which price. But like, in general, like, invalidation wise, like, for me saying this is a bear market right now, I think we'd have to go quite far, right? Because complacency bounces can go quite far. And I think we could easily go to like 45K and still be bearish. So anywhere like above 50K would be where I'm like, okay, probably like my thesis that we're in a bear market has probably just been wrong, I think. So that's kind of where my head's at.
Yeah, Don, you and I talked last week on your and Cred's show about that 45K level. And I think that's where, you know, some trend following stuff aligns nicely with weekly horizontals where we nuked down from. And I agree, like, but that's a pretty hefty trade to the upside, like if you're willing to take it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's 33% from here. And you could even look at these kind of weekly closes as invalidation. And of course it requires a weekly close to invalidate that, doesn't it? So yeah, we opened the weekly there. Maybe it's Cred, maybe both of y'all. Y'all have talked before about how you can open a trade that's invalidated midweek as an opportunity. You know what I'm talking about? Where like it would be invalidated potentially if it closed the weekly right now, but the fact that it hasn't closed the weekly and it's Monday may just give you a better opportunity, like almost like you're opening the trade within a stop. But
definitely agree. Yeah.
The point is between 34 and 44 is $10,000 per Bitcoin. Just looking at if we retraced that nukish weekly, still bearish overall, but like a pretty clean place to get out, where we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wicks in a row, somewhere in that zone. Is that's stupid or what?
No, it's the only reason why I've been buying. I think this is really bearish, but I think the fact that we can go to 45K just opens up a pretty good kind of trade opportunity, right? So that's why I've been trying to buy range low so often, because I'm like, okay, if I capture that move, I mean, that's gonna make up for me like buying it 4 times and cutting it 4 times for like all the effort. But like that 45K move isn't guaranteed, right? So you gotta be a little bit careful. But it's basically the reason why I've been buying, because I've been eyeing like the 40K, 40 to 45K area for the last few weeks. It's just been, price has been even weaker than I anticipated. I didn't think we'd just get flat out rejected by 40K like we have.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of fundamental reasons for it, like why we've been so weak. And I think those fundamental reasons have been China mostly. And it's really hard to fade that. But yeah, the upside is there if you wanna take it. It's just scary to do so, because I mean, if you're gonna buy and not have an invalidation and this plays out to the downside, you're gonna be stuck. And that's gonna suck.
Yeah. If you don't have that invalidation, I agree with that. Like there has to be somewhere where you're willing to cut your loss. On the other side of things, Ethereum, it basically went back to its prior lows. I never loved these where it's like 1, 2, 3, the exact same spot. Also where it broke out from in March of this year. But it did close the weekly basically where it broke the horizontals back here at 1950. There's basically a stick save attempt yesterday on the weekly close. I don't know if y'all noticed it that way, but those make me a little fearful sometimes. But reclaiming the 200, couple strong dailies in a row, I don't necessarily think that Ethereum's just like, oh, okay, well, let's go back to like 3,800 now. But it does look more constructive than Bitcoin to me. Do y'all agree?
I disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah,
I would cautiously disagree as well. ETH is just ugly to me. Don, I want to hear what you have here.
I'm looking
at the takes. Give them to me.
I'm looking at this right now, and I think like this is basically where you sell ETH, and then you rebuy it if we reclaim this thing. Because what we've been doing, right, is basically what we've had a massive breakdown. And I mean, there's not even a breakdown, it's just a straight up crash, right? So we crashed and then we bounced really weakly, formed a range that played out to the downside. And now we're kind of retesting that range. Now, if you get back in that range, I could see a play from like the range low to the range high if you're like super aggressive.
You'd crab the range again. You love crabbing.
Yeah, I can see that, and I could even if this entire market just goes and like blows the lid out and kind of squeezes shorts, I could see it go back to 3.2K. But like anything beyond that, like no fucking way for me. And I think that's already like a tall ask. I think this is basically the area to look at. And I could see us get rejected from there. So right now, like ETH would be the last thing I'd want to touch. If it reclaims that, I think there's a chance for a little bit higher, which is like, if you're aggressive, 2.7, almost 2.8. And if you're like less aggressive, I think there's like a world in which you kind of do like the mid range to like, it's a little bit awkward support resistance wise, but like 2.4 maybe, like that, like somewhere in the middle. If you're less aggressive.
I don't disagree that like it has bounced 5 or 6% today, and at this very moment is sitting at daily resistance. But like it has bounced harder than Bitcoin over the past few days, and the BTC relative pair was almost a perfect retest of that 0.055 kind of key level. Again, I don't love these double bottoms, so I'm not like hyper convinced yet, but I do like, it's obviously a promising candle at the bare minimum, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least there's some momentum there, and that I agree with. It's just for me, like both pairs are at resistance right this moment, like even the ETH BTC pair here. So it's really tough, and even more so, like we've had Bitcoin strength that led to ETH BTC strength. Like ETH BTC outperforming is the one thing that I don't want to see. So for me, it's really tough to kind of say, okay, I like ETH better than Bitcoin. But I mean, I see your point. I honestly like. If you have a setup above this, I think it's a decent bet to take, right? Like above that resistance, above both, basically, I think more than fine. Because at the end of the day, if that breaks, you're gonna have all the people that like to trade range free claims.
They'll all be
on your side. Yeah,
range.
They're all gonna look for this. Yeah, and then like if it goes poorly and you see weakness into like 2.4, 2.5. That's fine, but if not, like I think the range high makes sense. So yeah, I don't particularly hate it. Just at this moment, I'm like, I'd rather wait.
That's fair. I think that's a fair analysis. We're also seeing not across the board, but some DeFi stuff is moving quite strongly. Luke, what are your thoughts? You haven't said as much about price.
I was going to say Bitcoin. The only reason I kind of like Bitcoin, I'll share my screen here. As a better trade than ETH right now. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, and Ledger, I know you said you and Don and Cred were talking about it. That 45K, 46, that's like a dream come true, right? If we get up there for Bitcoin, but not really interested in playing like that longer term. But this range has just been so much cleaner for Bitcoin, and everything on like small time frames is doing somewhat of an A&E. If Bitcoin starts to complete that and we get back above weekly 36K, I think we do attack range highs. And I think then that breakout to 45, 46 is possible. The ETH chart, ETH versus Bitcoin is just so ugly. Like, I don't know how to me, I find it so like, I guess it could happen that this is really the push that takes us and we get above 0.08. But like that's the next time ETH is interesting. So either I want to be a buyer much lower at like 0.047, 0.05, or back above 0.08. It's like the closer we move up, it's great to see ETH, bouncing better this week and being up 5% while Bitcoin's only up 1%. But it's like, the closer we get to this 0.07, the less excited I am about ETH. So it's just not a lot of room to work with. And if I'm going to trade, the market kind of bouncing back, I'm going to expect Bitcoin to bounce back and hopefully lead the charge there. So I don't know. ETH is just ugly. I think Bitcoin could look a lot better, a lot quicker. It's the only reason I'm a Bitcoin bull. ETH, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can trade all those W's and Adam and Eve's just as a low time frame pattern. It was pretty clear we had like growing bull divs, we had funding going ultra negative. There are reasons why we stopped going down, I guess. It's whether or not we have like the momentum to at least like reset the RSI and MACD back to 50 and back to 0 on MACD. So yeah, I think it's a fine trade. I agree with the range stuff. It's going to take time. It's going to take this week. It's going to take next week. It's interesting that this China stuff's happening at the end of Q2. Just funny how that lines up. I was watching Coin and MSTR as well as the Grayscale discounts, and it seems like sentiment has shifted on the institutional side because those look more bullish than they had last week. Coin broke up big today.
Oh, did it move?
Which for Coin is... is that what it was? That makes sense then. I didn't even put two and two together. They announced that they got approval to do custody in Germany. But it also had a falling wedge bull div. So I mean, it can't go to zero
punished.
Forever.
Yeah, it's been punished since it went public. It got not quite below 200. Somebody defended 200. But compared to its like first day or two of trading where it was well over 300, I mean, that's a large drop, still it's 40% off of its like IPO price, 45%. to the lows, almost 50% to the lows. But Coinbase remains a very, very profitable company. So at some point that has to start looking attractive to someone. It just was not interesting to anybody there for a bit. I wanted to bring up a trade, or at least a chart, that I find funny. So Synthetics, like, turbo nuke.
Gosh.
Yeah, like you just look at it. Fake broke out to 26 and went as low as 550. I mean, just like a stunning top to bottom move in a very short amount of time. 80% versus the dollar for a supposed DeFi blue chip. Fully retested where it broke out of in January, which is like, January was the big DeFi season. So obviously this could be some kind of like super dead cat. But a lot of this stuff got so freaking nuked that I could totally imagine a scenario like this. Now I'm looking at an ETH relative pair, where there's like this stick save, right? This is trying to save a level that it maintained relative to ETH in early 2020. But it's 2018 and 2019 highs before Synthetics was like widely known, and before it broke up throughout 2019 is a much bigger dip. So I could imagine something like this where you get actually quite a large bounce on some of these DeFi products before they have a more sustained Ethereum relative dump. Do y'all think this is crazy, or what are your thoughts? Like, this is a plus 100% move. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I saw you mentioning comp. I think, was it Friday, Thursday?
Yeah. And comp actually took a position in.
Yeah, I don't hate anything that's retraced back to its yearly open, which SNX has, and then some. Right. I don't hate that trade at this point. All of the hype from January to present is gone.
It's all gone.
And if you're just trading this like on technicals, it's insanely oversold. And the other question is SNX okay as a platform? Like, are they still having issues? I don't know the answer to that. So that's another thing to be careful with. But
one of the pieces of potential recovery that I heard about was if Arbitrum launches, SNX would be on that. So like they might have better adoption with L2. But yeah, their user base was in question and some other things. So like there was some fundamental stuff that people were fudding pretty hard with, or FUD or not, I don't know which one it is. Like just critiquing properly, whatever.
Yeah, FUD or truth.
Right. I just know if something is at $5 and it's $15 to its 200-day moving average, it's a significant move, and even a weak bounce is like plus 50% to a 20-day moving average, something like that. Like some of these just seem like they got out of hand. I've taken positions in several DeFi assets with the idea that I thought they could move more quickly than even Ethereum or certainly relative to Bitcoin seemed like they had an opportunity. Do y'all think I'm crazy? Do y'all think there's room left on some of these trades?
I think something else you have to acknowledge is like how Chinese is the project, like is it ultra wrecked from the fundamentals of that stuff or not? Like Sushi, I don't know how Chinese it is, but it looks worse than the other DeFi stuff. It still has that potential. All this stuff, because it's sold off so hard so quick. It's just that it has this mean reversion potential. It has bull divs on the daily now. I don't hate it. It's just, if you're wrong, you're just mega wrong because it just nukes lower,
Right. Yeah, it depends on how you play those stops, I guess. Go ahead.
I'm looking at SNX on the Bitcoin pair right now, and I think there's a relatively easy play to be made there too, right? Like you get like a break of this resistance, which is like the November high, and then you can play it to the next one. I think this is in general how you should be playing the market right now. Just play from like one to the next, and if you get strength, you can kind of do that, right? Let's say this reverses a little bit, goes above there, maybe even retests this. I could see it go to the next resistance. Until it does, I'm just gonna wait. I'm like, I have like zero FOMO right now on anything. It's like you get a good buy because people are like panicking. I mean, take it, and then you sell it when they stop panicking. And I think that's the best way to trade right now. And like the panic buy would be like down here somewhere, which is still like 50% off, I think. But the strength play, which is good too, I think is above resistance here into the next one.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good move.
I gave that Ethereum relative chart a little more weight than for like some of these major DeFi products, especially the ones where there is a lot of on-chain stuff and like your whales are going to be more likely to be in Ethereum versus Bitcoin. But I do appreciate the added look of SNX versus BTC. It looks more clearly going against resistance. I don't think I've taken a position in this one yet. I bought a lot of things, so I can't remember that.
Chad, that's the way to go about it. If you go hard. I like it.
We'll see. So far, it's going okay. I mean, some of these are just so wrecked. I was like, I got to buy this. You know?
I mean, it's like the market, it repriced these things down so far. And I think part of it had to do with everyone trying to figure out, like, if Bitcoin drops back to 20K, like, how wrecked is the market? If Bitcoin drops to 20K and lower 15K, then it's probably more likely that we spend a full year in a bear and a range. Like, and I think, alts and DeFi, even though they're productive assets and they shouldn't trade, in line with Bitcoin. But when Bitcoin drops this much, everything gets repriced in the what if scenario of, are we going to be back in a 1 to 3 year bear? So, if Bitcoin kind of comes back and that scenario becomes less likely, Ledger, I think that buy is going to work out. I think even things like sushi that look absolutely destroyed would bounce back pretty well. It doesn't take too much. Like a gust of wind and these things would be up 20, 50%.
Yeah. I bought ZRX back. I had capitulated it when it broke down somewhere up here under $1 or over $1, but it was like pretty nasty. I bought it back at 53 cents. It's like the FDV of ZRX was like, it's got 540 million at that. The fully diluted value, 540 million, which is just insane. And like total capitulation. And I just was like, all right, I'm hopping in. But what's amazing is if you catch some of those like relative lows, comp, I was similar, bought below 230. In a couple of batches, I had a couple of chances on comp. It's like a double on those is not impressive, but it's still a double to me. So I just, maybe I'm a pea brain, but I just think like the risk reward is far superior to what it was when I was trying to force it at much higher prices, So I just ran with it. We'll see if I'm a dummy later.
No, I think like in general, whenever you have these big dumps, right? If you kind of feel like if you're trading a market relatively often, you kind of feel when people are capitulating, right? And that's kind of what you're describing. And if you kind of feel that and you get like a good buy-in and you can sell 2 times higher or whatever, that's a good.
That's very similar to what you did, went on the like turbo nuke, right? You were completely out of the market and you were like, okay, we just went to 24K or something. You had a plus 30% 24-hour trade on the majors. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, and I think that's like one of the better ways to trade, but you can only do it if you're in tune with the market, right? And like, I couldn't do it on the altcoins because I haven't traded the altcoins in a while now. But given you have that read, and I think why not, right?
And I think I do have to, you make a good point. Like with this approach, you have to be a little more ruthless to say like, all right, we hit some resistance. I'm starting to pare this down. Like you don't want to bag hold it back down when you caught that, So there's a place where you let it go. And actually a good example of where I screwed that up was the Rune olive branch bag, my drama that I had with Thorchain. I bought it a little over $7 off the 200. That was where I bought it as part of our olive branch, and I sold it perfectly at $10 because I was like, well, back to the 20-day moving average, I'm out. The problem was I bought it back too quick, right? Like I was like, okay, well, I'll play again, but it was when it was kind of in no man's land, and I had to. buy more when it capitulated similarly. So I bought more, like under $5, which is kind of crazy when you consider that $10 to $5 in less than a week. But now you look at it and it's like, honestly, with Rune, you should probably dump this bag like $7.50 or below, you know, maybe it gets to $8. But it looks like it just wants to test in a bearish manner, before it sucks again. It could reclaim that and be a really nice trade.
Yeah.
Like you re-enter from top side at the same place I entered initially, but it doesn't mean you have to be in it from the bottom side. Go ahead, Luke.
I was going to say reclaim 850. I see $12. It's just, it's a lot of this DeFi. It's all kind of hinging on, does Bitcoin complete this A&E small time frame? And we work from there. It's, you know, if we get too outlandish with the targets, and I have to kind of remind myself, it's like, we're still in that crab range and we might play in it for another 2 months. Like Bitcoin did that a year ago. We were bouncing between 8 and 10K for 3 months straight before we broke out. So it's like, it's totally possible. We just kind of keep doing this, up 25%, up 40%, back down 25%. And it's like a lot kind of is riding on, does the market have enough strength to even complete small time frame reversal? If it does, Rune to 820 is going to happen this week if it does.
Yeah, that's a nice move if it happens. Don, you got some mid time frame analysis that could it inform some of the foretell what's going to happen on these further derivative down the line assets?
I mean, the thing is, like with analyzing Bitcoin right here, the reason why I bought it yesterday, right? Because I bought Bitcoin yesterday into, like, I saw strength come in here, and then I tried to buy, and it just kept on pushing up. So I had to buy into kind of the push up. And then I sold basically today, like on the spike up, because I saw like all the altcoins ticking up again, right? And how I look at it is that when you see all these altcoins start ticking up, it's basically people jumping back into the market to speculate, right? And I don't want to see too much speculation, because if you see speculation after a nuke, you can just nuke again and again and again, right? The moment you start seeing less speculation, I think you're going to actually like start getting like a continuous slow grind up that can actually lead to higher prices, right? But as soon as people start jumping into leverage into your coins, that means, like, to me anyway, that the sideways isn't really done yet. And I mean, I could be wrong on that, but for me, it's just much more comfortable just jumping in when I see Bitcoin strength, and then staying in if Bitcoin outperforms everything else, and if it doesn't, just jumping back out again. So that's what I did yesterday, kind of bought into the rally, sold into daily resistance today. And if we kind of go above there, I think there's a good chance we go back to 40K again. So it's similar to ETH in a sense, where we are at resistance right now. Bitcoin looks a little bit better to me, because you've tested this resistance already, right? And that's something that I had in mind yesterday, where I was like, okay, I mean, if this shows some continued strength, we're going to test the resistance that we've already tested. So it's more likely to break. And then the road to 40K is a little bit more open. But for me, I'm just going to chill, wait for this resistance to play out. If we get rejected, go back to 32K, I might buy like in that range again, like 32, 33. If we don't get rejected and play to the upside, I mean, I might play into the breakout again. And this time, right, the breakout out of like 32, 33 is much more difficult to play, because the next resistance is so close. Whereas in this case, you have quite a bit to go. And then I think you could even break the 40K range. So if we play this out bullishly, I think it makes a lot of sense to expect the altcoins to go up with it. If they don't, I think Bitcoin has more room to go, right? So like, let's say we break out here and then Rune and everything else starts performing really well. I think what we're going to do is we're going to head up, maybe even higher, and then just nuke it all back down again. If the altcoins don't do well, if they're like underperforming, I think what we're going to do is we're going to head up and then head up again until the altcoins do well, and then nuke it. So it's kind of like, I think the altcoins are going to do well if we break this, because I think we're going to reverse around like the 44K range.
It's just,
But
if we go up, we just wait till altcoins go up and then we nuke it. If we don't go up and altcoins go up, then we nuke it. No matter what, we nuke it.
no matter if the altcoins go up from this point. My entire thesis is basically, right, we've had basically a market-wide wipe, right? And that was because people speculated on Coinbase, they speculated on altcoins, Dogecoin, Shiba, everything went to the moon, right? Now, everyone got hard punished for that, kind of like that apery into the altcoins, that apery onto leverage, right? And then we nuked down and we found support, right? We're barely holding on to that support, that like 32K-ish area. And if altcoins do well at that support, that means like people are just gambling on altcoins, right? What I want to be seeing is like strength in Bitcoin, and then maybe like into the 50K range, and then we start ranging here and altcoins kind of like start to recover into the Bitcoin strength. That'd be fine by me, right? But if you get speculation and everyone kind of jumping into the altcoins while Bitcoin is barely holding on, that just makes me bearish on it, because like if you get like the entire market concentrate on other things, no one's really bidding Bitcoin. I mean, where are you going to get the buyers from, right? If retail just completely ignores Bitcoin, you would have to bet on like bigger people, like, I mean, Elon and like other institutions to come back in and buy again. And you can speculate on that, but I don't want to, right? I don't want to be like, okay, I want to be rescued by someone outside of the market coming in, right? I want to see like Bitcoin strength on its own, at least until we're out of the danger zone, right? If we start getting like back up again, we start trending up again, that's fine by me. Like the altcoin plays are fine by me. But until then, like altcoins are going to be a top signal, I think.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't really disagree with anything that you're saying. There's that, back and forth ping pong that occurs between degenerates and long-termers, and everything did moon, and the garbage at a bare minimum has to like fall back out of orbit. One other thing in that landscape was funding was very negative for like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days at least, which is pretty rare. Funding's flattened out now. That's not like, you would hope that people like start to pile on the shorts as it moves up, right?
So I saw somebody else say that, funding went from negative to zero and we only made it to 33K or 33, 34K in this case, whatever.
Yeah. You kind of want to see funding still work its way towards negative. If this pops, like if it goes 36, 37, you don't really want to see like people having to pay to be long, all like just like it was when we were at 50K. That would be something to watch for sure to support your thesis there about speculators. Derivatives no different than altcoins.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, it's a good way. It's the easiest way to kind of see sentiment, right?
The Bitfinex longs are still at an effective all-time high, which I don't think these guys are going to win. I don't know who it is. I don't even know if they're real. At this point, I trust less and less data as days go on. There's just no way that this guy who's mega long, I assume it's one person, not like multiple people, because let's be honest, like 12 people trade at Bitfinex, as well as BitMEX. The mega short win is gone, and we just keep climbing on the longs on Bitfinex. I know I'm not sharing right now, but here, let me just share it. Yeah. There's just no way. There's no way that we bottom with longs at all-time high. I just don't believe it. So that doesn't make me bullish. If this was flipped, if this was all-time high shorts, I'd say, yeah, let's go to 55. But
yeah, you basically think a recovery will include them winding down.
It's got to, right? There's no way these guys just keep adding.
Got to is a strong word, but I don't know.
It's got to.
Before we go, one other thing I want to highlight, the NASDAQ is in price exploration right now, breaking up from what could have been a pretty nasty wedge type of thing. The S&P not really following yet, just kind of hovering. And there's a bit of a rotation trade going on where NASDAQ and growth stuff's getting a bid while value stuff is starting to come back down to earth after there was quite a rotation there. Just something worth noting.
Doge is still a quarter. How
Doge
can
is
we
still a
live?
quarter.
How can we live in bull land when Doge is still a quarter? Doge has to go to sub 5 cents. It has to.
Has to. That's a strong
I think
word.
Elon said they're adding there's some new smart contract functionality.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
He's also pushing. He's
He
pushing
tweeted
some.
something crazy, man. I don't know what it
Pushing some
was.
fee change as well. Like,
Are they gonna ruin Dogecoin forever? I can already
I hope
tell.
so. I hope so.
Josh and I tried to record on Friday. Just wanted to highlight it, and like we were in some degree of despair. Like Josh was just ready for it to die. Like, let's go for it. And I was more like, crap. Like everything is dead and ruined, but like I'm not selling here. Was kind of my take. We did have some people say like your sentiment is why we are bullish, and I was like, well, the chart at the time was basically saying we either bounce here or turbo nuke, right? So we bounced. There's not like particular confirmation in the market yet. Like we're but just back in the crab range. We covered the crab range as you mentioned, Don. But it doesn't. We don't really have a lot of confirmation one way or the other from here. But I did want to give a shout out to our episode from Friday where I was at the lake. The internet was real bad, so I didn't even publish it to the like audio feed because it was irrecoverable. But yeah,
True.
Maybe our depression was the bottom things.
Maybe. I just want to see this difficulty adjustment go through. I want to see quarterly rollover happen. Get that stuff out of the way. I don't expect a lot out of Q3 across the board, just historically. There's also some Elon.
It'll dump over years. It's going to take a long time. Like I don't think.
You mean it'll dump? It's already down like 60%. It did dump. You're
It's
saying
up
you want another 90?
5,000%.
On the year?
Yeah, it's still at 5. It's going to bleed for ages, man. It's
So the Bitlord take is this pumps another 1,000 from the bottom, which it did 2 times prior, and that would be to $2.
that would be hysterical.
Jesus.
That
flipping Doge style. Jesus.
That's
That's
3
like
drives.
That's like what we talked about on your show. Like it's like I can't. That's bad for crypto if that happens.
If Doge hits $2, XRP is going to 10.
And I'm going home.
Just looking for new employment at that rate.
give me a new hobby.
Yeah.
I was gonna say one last thing. Elon and what's his face, Twitter guy, have a debate or something on Bitcoin coming up. I don't know when it is, but
with Jack, yeah.
Dorsey, yeah,
about
it's
that.
July something. So that's something else to look for.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I'm gonna skip the what are we watching this week because I think we all know what we're watching, and also I have a meeting. So I'm just gonna bail us. If anybody have any parting words they want to leave us with?
Not really, no. I mean,
I'll say one last
Bitcoin,
Yeah, Josh.
one actual last thing. Gas is rising, which is bullish. People care.
We are bullish.
It's the DeFi.
There's at least
DeFi is a value once again.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but there's at least emotion. People are at least doing something. Say it's MEV bots. I don't care. Whatever. It's not. Gas isn't zero.
Gas isn't
bullish.
zero. Let's
Bullish.
go. Freaking pump it. Thanks to Blockfolio for being our partner. weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio. Please save my bags. Double my net worth and I'll walk away. I have a house to build. The quotes are expensive, man. Expensive. weeklyopen.com/Blockfolio. Make your trade today. Buy the dip if that's what you so choose. Track your portfolio if you've always known and loved. Thanks to everybody for being with us. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.